Bitcoin MENA Day 2, Abu Dhabi. We are here with Yatsu, co-founder and chairman Animoca Brands. How are you doing?
So very good, thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here, and it's amazing energy here at the conference.
Yes, indeed. Looks like Bitcoin did another amazing job, bring us together.
That's
And
right.
how does it feel like? Um, we already reached like $100,000 milestone, and it's a massive one, isn't it?
It is, but also, I mean, from when we last spoke, after the election, the whole market completely transformed, right? And the optimism and the energy. And I actually think this whole thing will reverberate not just in America, but the whole world. So the whole world is basically now looking at digital assets, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and like, oh, maybe we need to pay more attention. And I think it really legitimizes it as well. So I think that's really important. It's done an incredible job for the reputation of what you brought in.
I know we are at the Bitcoin MENA, but I want to take advantage and ask you about the educational program that
Yes.
you're running, right?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Open Campus.
Yes. Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, Open Campus now basically has, I think something like 8 to 900,000 basically ID users. I think maybe 20 or 18 to 20 million transactions on testnet, and just about to launch, right? So that's been really exciting. And basically, Open Campus is basically trying to bring blockchain to universities, schools, colleges. And one of the most exciting projects that people are building on it is they're trying to solve student loans, basically on chain. And I think that's fascinating because student loans is a $2.2 trillion market. And, it's very, very high interest rates. And again, this could be solved with better yields and better sort of, financial paradigms in Web3.
Yeah.
And also, think about it. When students actually basically get some of their loans paid through crypto, that means they have to learn it. And that means they become onboarded. And so I think that's going to be, how do you ensure the future of Web3? Well, you have to onboard young people in space. So that I think is what Open Campus is trying to do. And by the way, that was a growth strategy of Apple, right? When they basically do student discounts for Apple devices. That's basically PayPal, Venmo. Their growth strategy was basically focused around students in universities.
And we were here yesterday when CZ were on the stage, and he said exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Well, very similar stuff, right?
Yes.
That he's building now Giggle
Yes,
Academy,
Giggle, that's
and
right.
he's going in the same direction.
Yes.
In this part with education, I want to ask you, when these guys are first time touching blockchain or Bitcoin, what will be the most important gate to look at Bitcoin, to look at the code itself as a network, to understand exactly the technical perspective, or to look at Bitcoin from like money-wise, like
Yeah. So, I mean, when you think of Bitcoin, right, the culture of Bitcoin has always been to hold. So it's a hodl culture. So I think it really owns the moniker store of value. And as, Powell recently described it, and some of us have described it earlier, it's kind of like digital gold. And so I actually think Bitcoin is the reserve asset of Web3, and that's probably its biggest value. Meaning that when you make money in another token ecosystem, whether this is Ethereum or Solana or Mocha, Sand tokens, whatever, you play the ecosystem and you partake in the ecosystem. When you want to save your money a little bit in Web3, you don't do it in USDC. You do it in Bitcoin. And maybe some Ethereum, whatever, but generally in Bitcoin. That
will we overtake gold?
I actually think there's a good chance for it that it would actually overtake gold. I have this sort of perspective that I believe that Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million or more, not per Bitcoin, not because it's going to be sort of used in this manner, but because it's going to be the ultimate status item in Web3. Right? It's like to own one full Bitcoin is like owning the sort of reputation in Web3, kind of like an NFT.
Do you see it as a currency like worldwide where we go and do our grocery with Bitcoin?
No,
Of course, Bitcoin not, because
not
maybe
Bitcoin.
with Satoshi, but
Yeah.
Bitcoin is
I
already
think it's
too big.
more. No, I actually.
I mean, do you see it in this direction?
I
or
don't
like,
see it in that
Yeah.
direction. I see it. I mean, Lightning and those things are obviously approaching it that way.
Yeah.
That's possible. But I think of Lightning no different than an altcoin in some ways of fashion, in the sense that it essentially, the critics would say it fragments the network. But I actually think in some ways you could argue all roads lead to Bitcoin, right? If you make money in one type of ecosystem, you will buy into Bitcoin to store its value, right?
Beautiful.
Right. So that's actually what I think it is. So I don't think it's a negative. I think it's a positive. And that means to me, Bitcoin doesn't need to solve, the fastest transaction rate. That's not Bitcoin's mission. Bitcoin's mission is to preserve your value so that you can manage your wealth and plan that for the future. And I think that is probably maybe the most fundamental service that Bitcoin has offered and will offer.
Another valuable insights. Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, I want to see you building great things in the industry as usual, and leading actually all this beautiful journey.
Thank you so
Thank you. I
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and stay with us. We have more.